Hi, it's Joey Remini from seekingbalance.com.au. I'm a vestibular audiologist and I take a very specific approach in learning about how to best heal and recover chronic symptoms of vertigo and tinnitus using neuroplasticity. Recently, one of my clients has been asking, Joey, how do I tell the difference between vestibular migraine and PPPD, persistent postural perceptual dizziness? And I thought this was a great question that I could address on a video for everybody to share the conversation. So vestibular migraine is a condition that is often diagnosed through your medical investigation process, and often the doctors will say, well, look, we can't find any other diagnosis and your symptoms are suggesting that it's a migraine, a silent migraine, which means you may not even have headache. And migraine is when the connections and pathways in the brain are actually having temporary road jams or short circuits. And, migraine's relatively common actually, and probably everybody listening to this will know at least one person in their life who experiences migraine, or maybe you've even had a migraine yourself. So vestibular migraine means that the vestibular pathways, the beautiful superhighways carrying the balance information, are being impacted. They don't know if it's fully to do with the blood circulation and the amount of oxygen and nutrients arriving around those neural areas of the vestibular system, or whether it's the neurons themselves having temporary neurological short circuits and blocks and traffic jams. But either way, migraine means that it's harmless, it's benign, it's passing, it's transient, and we have moments, generally longer than 20 minutes, of feeling out of sorts. So I just want to reiterate, you may not have a headache at all. And vestibular migraine people often say, they might feel spinning or tilting or swaying or like they're on a boat or feel a bit like an astronaut, disconnected and discombobulated. They may have spots, dots, and auras, visual distortions, light sensitivity, sound sensitivity. But, you can have any cluster of these symptoms. You don't need to have them all. Generally speaking, people will say they feel a bit cloudy, foggy, confused, pressure in their head, cotton wool in their head. And you may or may not have any vestibular injury or hearing loss. So people with vestibular migraine can have totally normal test results or very mild hearing loss or very mild vestibular complaints or injuries through the testing, but what they're getting is really intermittent, invisible or silent migraines that are impacting specifically on the brain areas from the inner ear balance organs to the midbrain. So that's the vestibular migraine. Between episodes, you certainly can return to normal and have a completely normal recovery. Or for many people who work with me, that's not occurring. So between migraines, they're experiencing lingering, unsettled, gross, not quite right feelings, and it can genuinely impact on your ability to remain fit because you don't trust your body, can impact your relationships, can impact your self-esteem, your capacity to work. You may not trust yourself as much. So even though you may be getting the actual spinning, more aggressive symptoms for 20 minutes, 1 hour, or 1 day here and there, it's between the attacks that we really need to focus in on neuroplasticity and healing. So that's actually a really good point for me to make, is that during an attack of vertigo, and it doesn't matter if this would be a Meniere's attack, a BPPD attack, a vestibular migraine attack, any condition, when you are actively spinning, vomiting, and at the peak of distress, that's not a time for doing neuroplasticity. That's a time for soothing, and you need to have strategies to get you through those moments. So soothing and settling is a massive part of preparing for neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is your body's ability to reset, recalibrate, and go back to normal. It's actually physically changing at that neuron level. Now, PPPD, persistent postural perceptual dizziness, is a relatively new diagnosis. It used to be called chronic subjective dizziness or psychogenic dizziness. People would say things like, the doctor said it's all in my head. So PPPD is a real condition. You are not making it up. It is not in your head. Well, it is actually living in your head, but it's a real phenomena in your head. You're not crazy. This is where symptoms are basically 24/7. It's not like it happens when you move your head or roll in bed, or it's a 20-minute period or a 2-hour period. It's constant. It's always there. And it's like a background haze that you're taking with you when you walk, when you sit, when you sleep, everything, everywhere. So persistent postural perceptual dizziness is a longer diagnostic process because you have to have had symptoms for at least 50% of the time for longer than, I think, 3 to 6 months in order for you to qualify for the diagnosis. And it can start with a normal bout of BPPD or migraine or Meniere's, but it never snaps out of it. So the brain never heals and never recovers. So you can see how vestibular migraine and persistent postural perceptual dizziness can kind of play this game of marriage, where it's like, which condition do I have? Do I have a constant dizziness that's lodged in error pathways in my brain that's there all the time? Or do I have this intermittent migraine situation where I'm getting a flurry and intensity of symptoms that then settle down? So it could be that you have very clearly one, you've got a migraine that comes and goes and you feel normal in between. It could be that you have no migraine and you have just the triple PD, which means you have a baseline level of error signals between your ears, eyes, and spinal cord, and they need to be reset. And there's no migraine, it's just a base level template is not working efficiently or effectively in your brain. So for triple PD, step number one is make sure you feel safe. It's incredibly important that you trust your body, you trust your doctors, and you know at that very deep, profound knowing you are not dying. It's not stroke, tumor, heart attack, nothing. Step number one is make sure you get medical clearance so you can go, okay, I'm feeling all of these funny feelings, but I'm really safe. Step number two would be find a therapist such as myself, someone who can train you through step by step how to reset your feeling pathways. Triple PD is not a classic vestibular injury. You don't need classic vestibular physiotherapy or bedside exercises. You need a much deeper variety of exercises that really look at values, at purpose, at your desired feelings. Many of my clients are working towards feeling not only steadiness, but inner peace, calm, connection, contentment, and of course, joy. So the neuroplasticity process is very specific, very customized. You update it daily. It's not like something you would get an exercise and repeat every day for a month. It has to be a very dynamic process, extremely gentle and focused in on self-kindness and self-compassion. Now, talking about recovery, the beauty of both of these conditions, vestibular migraine and triple PD, is you can heal. You are not stuck. It is not for life. It is not a death warrant. So honestly, just be really careful about what information you're listening to out there. Don't listen to the horror stories. I have been working in this field for 10 years and I have seen so many people recover. I'm telling you it's possible, but you have to have a customized therapy and a very safe and supportive continuous program so that your brain can reset neuron by neuron. This is not something that medication can do for you. All medications can do is numb any depression, anxiety, or excessive spinning symptoms. They can numb it, but they can't reset it, change it, and heal it. Okay, so nothing wrong with medications, and please use them if that's something that's working for you, but don't confuse medications with healing and resetting your system. So that's not what the medications are designed to do, and your doctors will explain that to you. So the process of healing is the same for vestibular migraine and triple PD. It's both about resetting the brain, retraining the brain, and supporting yourself through those very tender moments of dizziness as they come and go throughout life. So for those of you who are curious to learn more, go to my website, seekingbalance.com.au. Check out Rock Steady, which is a 12-week self-study program that talks you through the process and takes you through the step-by-step methodical exercises and home program options that you can dabble in, because it's a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual process of recovery. You need something that works specifically for you, for your desires, for your concerns, for your actual in the moment sensations. So many people say, Joey, do you work with this condition? Do you work with that condition? And I say to them, you know what? I work with people. I don't work with BPPV exclusively. I don't work with vestibular migraine exclusively. I don't work with triple PD exclusively. I work with human beings who are experiencing the sensations and symptoms as a result of those diagnoses. So the healing process is not about your diagnosis. It's about what you feel in the present moment and what you actually want to feel, what you desire. So there's a gap between what you're actually feeling and what you want to feel. And neuroplasticity is about closing that gap from what I feel now to how I want to feel in my ideal. So I hope this has been useful for you. Triple PD and vestibular migraine can work hand in hand. You may have both, but even if you don't and you're not sure, the healing through neuroplasticity is exactly the same gentle step-by-step process. If you have questions and need support, I offer private therapy, and you're very welcome to book in an initial consultation to talk with me about your healing process and how to get started. So I'm Joey Remini. Visit seekingbalance.com.au. And for those of you out there with these conditions, don't give up. There is hope. You can heal, and it's a process. So don't rush yourself, and please be patient. I hope every single one of you who hears this video at some stage in your life finds a way where it clears up and heals, and you think, okay, I get this now, I feel it, I'm better, and you move forwards in that healing process. Keep going. All right, bye for now.